Oh my god, did I send you all that Pokemon Go stuff?
Yes, you did. I've been on a date with you with Pokemon for 2 days.
I was like, geez. So I did it this morning. I did the 151 gifts. I finished that,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it just went, and I'm like, I hate Pokemon Go now. But I'm still playing it, and I still want to try to get it, but it's just like
Because you want your
it has to be.
shiny new.
Doesn't it have to be done in a week though?
No, this one's a permanent one, so it lasts until you've done it.
Oh, thank God! Because I was like,
But
Jesus.
obviously, this weekend there's more Kanto Pokemon out. So if you need it for like specific, you must catch X Kanto Fire Pokemon or whatever, And then it's like, oh yeah, I need to do it this weekend because it's going to screw me over otherwise. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It was just like, oh my God, like it was a nightmare. Sorry, I just wanted to have a whinge just because I was like, stupid freaking thing.
You could have a whinge. Nothing wrong with having a whinge, Dez.
I know, and I just feel like I should because I'm just like, it sucked.
Dorks Down Under. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dorks Down Under. This is Season 2, Episode 23. 23. It is 23. Because I've just finished doing 22. So it's got to be 23. We want to say a big thank you to everyone who has recently subscribed and followed us. And you are joining us today. I am Jordan, here from I was about to say here from Australia. That's entirely wrong, Mod.
He's like, I'm not even sure where I'm from now. It's just been one of those days.
I'll tell you what, I have one late night. I've had decent nights all this week, and I had one late night. My brain's like all messed up this morning, and it just doesn't work.
Man, I've been watching because obviously. So for anyone who listened to last week's episode, we did say we were going to do a Ted Lasso thing. So it took me a little while to get it because the one that I got seemed to be corrupt. But I've been watching it on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm at Season 2, Episode 8. So we are going to do that next week just because it gives me time to finish the entire series.
Because basically what's happening is Des has found a series that he's quite enjoying, like my wife did. And suddenly it's like, you know what, I kind of want to see. And obviously I don't want to spoil anything. Because I will accidentally spoil something because that's how I work.
But 100%. And that's the other reason why when he came to me with a different theme for today, I was like, I'm down for that just because I feel like if we talk about it, we're gonna give away something, or I'm gonna give away something. So,
but yes,
yeah.
So for those of you, thank you very much for subscribing. For those of you who are following us, we are available to watch on Spotify and YouTube, and you can find us available on all good podcast applications and software and everything else. If we're not, let us know. You can reach us at our socials via Dorks Down Under, which is on Twitter as well as TikTok too. So thank you very much. Please
it still feels weird to say watch us on Spotify.
I know, but it's quite good actually because it comes through perfectly and it's sweet because it means we're not having to double up on bloody exporting now. Fabulous, best thing.
That's also a good thing, I think. Yes. So yeah, no,
it's sped up uploading in my opinion quite a lot, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, nothing much to report with me. I've been very busy. Very busy. We've been hanging pictures, we're getting ready, and I'm trying not to get into holiday mode.
Too much?
Oh God, it's like I keep thinking of things that I'm going to want to do in England. And food I want to try that I haven't had in ages. I want scampi.
Yeah, so being that obviously we aren't talking about Ted Lasso, but Ted Lasso does take place in the UK, in a place called Richmond, where I realised who told me. So there was Bonnie, who's one of my friends that I worked with at in Richmond. There was my Canadian friends, Kaylee and Lee, who I also met while I was living in Richmond. So it's one of those things where they've been telling me for ages to watch this show, and I just haven't.
And it took an annoying northerner to get you on it.
Well, it was more just because we were doing it for the podcast. So I kind of went, I better watch it, kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things that I don't have as much time as I used to watch TV shows and to to get really into a series. So that was the main reason why I'm like, screw it, I'm going to put it on my phone and I'm just going to watch an episode or two every night before bed. That being said, I think it was Friday night I binge watched the entire first season. And then I think I watched 8. I think I watched 8 last night.
Yeah. It is. I find watching the show is really good, and it just is binge watching. You know, you can easily. But the fact that obviously we're not going to get into it. No, I'm not going to get into that bit because I'll save that story for next week.
I know, and also because he's probably also going to give it away and ruin something for me.
Yes, very much so. But yes, I'll discuss that next week. Anyway, so I said nothing much has happened with me. As I say, I'm getting all hyped up and geared up for holiday, and I'm trying not to because I've still got a couple of weeks. And
it is hard though.
It is. Oh, honest to God, my holiday brain is starting to turn on. But we need to sort of, me and Ellie are finalising today. We're going to be finalising all our itinerary, so we can tell like we're in Cumbria for 5 days, so I can organise it with my friends of which day are you available, X or X, and then I can start planning out properly and stuff. But along with that, I am doing. I've finished building the Tyranids. And it only
really?
And they only stabbed me about 50 times. God forbid. I mean, it's not as bad as when I had to build a Dark Eldar army, but still. But yeah, no, they have to say the models are really good. Really good. Although this clip system, I do have some issues. Hang on, let's see if I can show it. Like the issue I'm having with some of the bigger models, it's not the little ones, the big ones. And you're getting these sort of gaps. It's not really going to come through on the camera, I reckon. But you're getting
it's a bit blurry on my end.
You're getting gaps on the plates, sort of thing. So what I'm going to have to do is use a bit of liquid green stuff and a bit of sanding and everything else. So it's mainly on the big models. The little ones, it's easy to get away with. It's not too bad.
I must say, sprue glue is amazing.
Yes.
So for anybody that doesn't know, you take, I think it's what is it? It starts with T.
You take Tamanaya cement, and then you will melt.
The small one.
And then you melt.
and then literally all you do is you cut up a whole heap of sprue and you throw it in, and because it melts but it doesn't harden, then what it does is it's almost as good as liquid green stuff. But the good thing is it looks the same as the model.
Yeah.
I find because you've got the brush, it makes it a lot easier than trying to jam the green stuff into it.
The problem with I bought 2 bottles specifically so I can make sprue glue, but the problem is they're full already. And if you start, and I tried to put some in, but of course it then starts creeping up a lot, and I'm like, right, okay, I've actually got to use it a bit first before I can make sprue glue. So it's fine.
That's what a few people have said. The only downside with sprue glue is the fact that you've actually got to get the glue low enough.
Yeah. But apart from that. It's coming along quite well. Edward is nearly finished building, I've not really helped him much. I've cleaned up a few bad bits here and there and fixed a thing every now and again when he's snipped off the clip, sort of thing. But to be fair, I did it as well. So it's not just new builder thing. I think on one of the models I cut it and then realised, oh crud. So yeah, I think Games Workshop shouldn't have put the sprue attachments on any of the clips. I think that's where they've gone wrong, in my opinion, personally. I think they should have. Yeah.
I must say, I have been listening to a few YouTubers that have said that they actually like that because then there's a lot less mold lines. There's a lot less contact points you have to shave off.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That being said, you've put the tabs there for new users. So why confuse them?
Yes, why confuse? Because literally every time Eddie kept asking me, and I was thinking it was only when he got to his the apothecary model that he realised which bits to cut. But of course, he was like the first, like the captain and the librarian. He was like, "Is it this one, Dad?" He's like, "Yeah, it's that. Just go a bit further down. There you go, bam." Sort of thing. So it was a very big journey, sort of thing, getting there, but it was fine. Sort of thing. It was
I know. And I feel like that's the hardest thing sometimes. It's just like.
But we are discussing painting and stuff like that. That's obviously I've finished now, so I've just got a bit of tidying up to do, and then I'm going to be priming. And I was discussing with Edward about paint schemes. He wants to do a red and black paint scheme, and I was like, right,
Okay, so kind of Blood Angels-esque.
Blood Angels, Flesh Tearers sort of thing. But I said, right, you've got to have a look. I said, what you need to do is this week have a look at Space Marine chapters and see how they show off the different paints. You know, because do you want the armor mainly red, or do you want it mainly black? Do you want it highlighted? Do you want, so think about that sort of thing. So I'm going to make up I think I found the other day that I found some of the old original starter Space Marines, the ones where it's just like click, click, bam, there you go. And I'll spray that up for him and he can do that as his test sort of thing to make sure he's happy, and we'll go from there. But
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
that's good, man. Like I'm rapt that he's getting so into it, and it is obviously father-son bonding, and also the fact is that it's an excuse that you can use to your wife on why you've just spent $700 at Warhammer World. $70 at Warhammer World for all those miniatures, because they offer such good deals because you're buying direct from the supplier.
Oh man, no, God forbid. It is allergies. Man. It is one of those things. But yeah, to be fair, I mean, I'm struggling to decide on the paint scheme. So I actually went on a generator today, and it came up with, he asked me a few questions. Said, "Oh, how do I want them to look? X, Y, and Z." He randomly gave me two colors, which is basically like a dark purple and a magenta. I was like, oh, okay, maybe magenta skin, dark purple armor, so it looks like it's grown the skin, and the armor's
Oh, hang on 1 second, sorry, mate. I just lost you. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
A few moments later.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. We're all good. All good.
My sound's just like, gone. Screw you, hippie.
One eternity later.
I literally just turned the sound up slightly, and it just went. All right, cool. Thanks, mate.
Right. Well, you're back.
All my hatred on Streamlabs, but dear Streamlabs.
Oh God! Right. Where was I? Where did I get to mid round? Before.
I don't know. I don't even remember. I was cut off before I even figured out what the friggin' hell was happening.
I can't even remember. God forbid. Anyway, right. Anyway, let's actually get to the main point. We'll discuss that. That seems like a good segue straight into what we're actually going to discuss this week. So, discussions this week. Obviously, I was sitting around with the family and kind of realised that one thing that we utilise in our house is board games a lot of board games. We enjoy them very much. Me and Ellie have always enjoyed playing them, and now Eddie's of an age where we get him involved, and we're playing our more strategy serious ones with him, and he's really enjoys them. So I figured to Dez, and I let Dez know. I said, Dez, let's discuss board games, and specifically which ones, as maybe an individual player or even as a family, which are like, you need this. You need to have this one at least, at least in rotation every now and again, sort of thing. So I've got a small list already for what I think will be good. I might even have one or two that maybe Dez hasn't played. You never know. Might actually be able.
You never know.
Might be able to struck.
To be fair, I've only done about 400 to 500 Kickstarter reviews.
Yeah.
Plus other board game reviews, because so for anyone that doesn't know, DezDoes.com is my channel where I focus on obviously gaming tech and also board games, because I've done board games for about 8 years. And my love for board games has obviously continued on. So I was like, I want to do that, but I'm also going towards the tech side of things, being my dad and grandfather were both engineers.
Yeah.
I love pulling things apart. I love putting things together, and I love the tech side of things of gaming. But I didn't want to do the gaming side of things because I suck at games. And I tend to find that I play games for a couple of hours and get bored.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people that are really adamant about game, but I love tech. So for me, board games have been a thing. Actually, it's almost been 10 years. And I think my biggest year one year was I did 54 reviews in 1 year.
Wow.
Which was more than one a week. And it was just an insane, like literally I was having gaming nights where I'd play 5 or 6 of these games from about 10 in the morning till about 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And just jam away these 5 or 6 games. And then I would write a review, send them to my editor, and then do the same thing the next week. And it was mayhem. But it has always been a passion of mine and something that I'm really hell of excited about. So when you said board games, I'm like, I don't even need to research this shit. I got this.
I have always had a love of board games. As kids, we always had loads. Mousetrap was probably the big favourite when we were kids. So I think we loved playing Mousetrap, and we liked playing Monopoly, but it then got banned from the house for obvious reasons of why Monopoly gets banned from your household. Everyone knows why. But
to be fair though, like I know if you speak to like real board gamers, they will shit all over those old games. And to be fair, there are games out there now that are a hell of a lot better.
Yes, I agree.
But that being said, they still have their place because without them, the industry wouldn't be where it is today.
Yeah.
And some of those games are great because you don't have to be a board gamer to enjoy them. They're easy to learn. They're easy to pick up. They're fun to play with the kids. They're tactile. They've got all these things about them that makes it very good. Mm-hmm. And I know people shit on Monopoly, and at the end of the day, I don't think many people have ever actually finished a Monopoly game. They've just kind of given up. I know that I went to Mount Hope with Brendan and a few friends, and we legitimately played every night and drank for like 5 days, and the game never ended. And it has its way. That being said, I think it's just one of those board games that you have to play. It's kind of like you have to play the original. But I can kind of understand why. It doesn't seem to have an end. It just seems to go. It seems to cause fights, family violence, all these things, table flips.
It's one of those. It is one of those special games that you will test loyalties and boundaries with not only friends but family and everything else. And it's one of those games. But I want to kick it off with the first game I think that everyone should really have or be able to play is the Settlers of Catan.
Which is a game that I've never ever played, and people pay me out for it.
What? How have you never played that?
There's a running joke about board gamers and a lot of board game reviewers who know that Settlers of Catan is a game that everyone must play, is a game that everyone must have. And there's this joke going around how many reviewers and stuff haven't actually played it.
Oh my god! I mean, Dez. To be fair, right? Okay, this is the thing. When we because I had played it a long time ago. I think it was when I was at uni. Someone had a copy, and I thought it was so good. But I thought, I'll get it eventually. And then, of course, life and everything. The problem is that you need 3 players for it, and it's like, well, me and Elle. I know Elle would enjoy it, but I was like, but we got to wait. We'll wait. Maybe when Edwards or and then we'll get a third eventually down the line. And we were considering I was considering getting Catan Junior because obviously when he was little, and getting him started on that. But I was actually like, I thought, but what's the point? It's not as fun as doing. It's a bit simplified and dumbed down. Obviously because you're playing with kids. And I thought to myself, nah, I want the proper version. Sort of thing. So we ended up getting the proper version, and of course we played it wrong the first couple of times because it is a complicated game to start off with. Yeah,
and that's the thing though, and that's what a lot of people think is people are like, what's one board game that I could get? Settlers of Catan, awesome. Problem is if there's 2 of you, pointless. If you haven't really got into the scene and haven't played many board games, it's annoying, and a lot of people are like, I don't want to play this. This is like it just seems to get confusing and it just paralyzes the gameplay. So unless you've got somebody there that's teaching you that have played before, definitely, 100% best way to learn. But the problem with it is again, if you live with a partner, you can't play it. Yeah,
but in saying that, we bought our first ever expansion for it this Christmas. So we got the sea expansion, so where you can sail the 7 seas, and you got the pirate and stuff like that. That is really cool. That is awesome. The fact is, it actually gives you 2-player variant rules in it, which they don't talk about in the box whatsoever. And it's like, why? It's like why isn't this 2-player variant immediately put into the normal box as well? Because you probably could do it that way. You could probably make up the home rules and stuff like that. But it's really good. And me and Eddie have played it a couple of times. Ellie played her first game. We played it last weekend, and it was. We were there for about 3 and a bit hours. And and I managed to swoop in and just steal the win at the end. It was really good, but it was back and forth and close out all the time. It was really funny, but we were doing this.
And those games are the beauty of board games. One thing that I will say is that you'll hear a lot of people go, "Oh, Euro games are the real board games." the biggest problem with Euro games that I find isn't as much as, don't get me wrong, I love Euro games and I play Euro games a lot.
Can you explain what a Euro game is?
Okay,
Maybe some of us
my apologies. Sorry, I should change that. Because there are, or I guess there is two types of board games where they fall into it.
Right.
And it's kind of weird because you have a look and you see which ones much fall into, and there's some funny memes around, but there's either Euro games or what they call Ameritrash. And those are the two types of games.
Okay.
And they're the two types of genres that games will normally fall into.
All right.
And it's so funny because there's a meme going around that I literally saw last night that it says Euro games means that they're dry and boring. Right. Ameritrash means they're thematic and fantastic, which isn't entirely true.
Okay.
So Euro games are something a little bit different to Americans. So American games arrive a lot from luck, a lot of I'm trying to think the best way of explaining it.
There's an element of chance in American games.
So there's a lot of chance. And that's probably the best way.
Okay, all right, okay.
So, for example, like Monopoly would probably be classified as a
chance game.
As a thing. But yeah, it's kind of weird. So Euro games normally are you're in direct play, so you play your own game.
Yeah.
Around players, and you have very little to no interaction with the other teams.
Okay.
You play on the board, you play your own kind of game. Ameritrash is more about luck and stuff. Okay. And the biggest problems with Euro game that a lot of people find is that if you make a mistake early on in the game, chances are you can't turn it around by the time it comes down, because it's all about that skill base, building your skills, getting better, and then starting to get that roll on. If you take a few missteps, it's very hard to get that roll back on and to actually get into it. And a lot of people don't like it because Euro games normally go for about 2.5 all the way up to 6 to 8 hours. Okay. So if you're playing a game for 8 hours and you realise in the first half an hour you've made a massive mistake, at that point you can't interact, so you can't like go, oh, I don't like Jordan, I'm going to mess with him and go after him, because you can't.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and I can see. Yeah, I would say logically. I mean, supposedly, so Settle of Catan is more of a chance game. But at the same time, you're playing your own strategy, so it's a bit of a mix of the two, realistically. So probably most board games fall into one or the other, but at the same time, there's probably elements of both in most board games. So that makes more sense.
So I think that so the best definition is Ameritrash games tend to be focused on direct conflict between players, and then obviously balancing attack and defense. Euro games tend to be focusing on outperforming the other players, or in some way, or seizing opportunities before they do. Sort of Ameritrash is more balanced, and sort of the probability and evaluating risk is a lot easier, where Euro games tend to be like almost like tend to focus on like distributing like limited resources and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of has that thing where, and to be fair, there are players out there that love Euro games. There's people out there that love Ameritrash, and it just depends on what you want. The hardcore gamers do tend to play more Euro heavy games because it's about skill. It's about trying to outthink your opponent. Kind of in a way almost like chess, where you're kind of battling, but you could be battling 6 people. But the hardest thing is, though, is like even as a reviewer, one of the things I hate about Euro games is, so for most games, if it's a game that goes under an hour, I will normally play it about 15 to 20 times to actually get the review. And if I can, I will, depending on how long and how much time I have, I will normally play it with 2 groups. Normally one that I know will absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I know, that Jordan's a mad keen Magic player, chances are I will bring a deck building game or something like that to you, and then I'll also play it with a bunch of randoms who I don't know as much about, or a game this night that's more relaxed to get the thing. Problem with a Euro game, though, is I tend to try to play them about 5 to 7 times. But when they're like 6-hour monsters, you kind of literally have to put away about 3 or 4 days just to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the one hard thing that I find with Euro games a lot is that to get a proper advantage of it, it does take a long time. And there is also a lot smaller market for it. So somebody like Jordan and Ellie and that, they probably wouldn't be buying Euro games.
No.
Or if they would, they might be buying like baby Euro games, as I call them, that go for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
I would say we've got probably a couple of 2-player games that are Euro game. Yeah, I would say we've got a couple. One of them's on my list. If I want to discuss, so and it is a 2-player game.
But I would say one game that I played as a kid. One of my favourite things. My grandfather was actually a province champion back in Italy. And a game that I always love to sit down and play is actually chess. Chess is a game that I think everybody should own. I think it heightens your skill. It makes you start to think. And it's a very good way to make you think outside the box, make quick decisions, understand the entire board. So because of that, and because okay, this moves here, this board is, you understand the board, I find it a lot easier now to pick up games because of it. Because you have a lot more board awareness, because you have to think like that.
Yeah.
And I must say that chess is actually one of my games that I think people should own.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I taught Edward chess this Christmas, and we play it on and off now. I started off with checkers because it's a draft. It's a dual set, and we started off with checkers, and he got the hang of that very quickly. And so I taught him chess, and he struggled with it for about the first 2 games, and now he's actually, I would say he's very competent now. He's beaten me once. That's because I made an absolute silly error and then lost the queen. So, by the way.
It's awesome. That's the thing though.
And the other day, we had a game the other day, and he said, "Oh, I've lost." I went, "How have you lost?" He went, "It's checkmate." And I went, "No, it is checkmate." "Oh, well done." I didn't even realise I had won because I was looking at a different move set ahead, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's checkmate because I can't move there, or there." I'm like, "Oh, good lad," sort of thing.
It's a happy accident. I won't lie though. There's been a few games like I used to play with my grandfather religiously. Whenever when my mum and dad used to go out, we used to stay with either my grandmother or my grandparents, my nono. And normally what happened is you take it in turns. And I used to always love staying at. So if you stayed at Nana's, it meant that you got to walk around the corner and go to either McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, KFC. She'd always buy you a box of barbecue shapes. So for the food wise, that was really good. But then for me personally, I used to love sitting there and playing chess with my nono. And I've only beaten him once before he passed away, which is annoying because we probably played about 300-400 games. and I honestly think that I was going for one thing. He knew what I was going for, so he was trying to counter that. And the same thing happened where he accidentally countered in a way that made me get checkmate. And I'm like,
yeah.
Still one of the greatest board game memories I have to this day.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Definitely. So chess is definitely a thing that I think every family should have, or you should learn how to play chess at least.
Yes.
So the next game I wanted to discuss it's actually a 2-player game, and I actually got the recommendation through TikTok for it, and I sent it to Elle and said, "What do you think?" And it's a game called Jaipur. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game.
What is it called?
Jaipur. It's been around for ages apparently. So basically, the entire premise is that you are going to market and you've got to buy and earn the most money in the round, sort of thing. Right. So you're buying goods, you're selling goods, and stuff like that. And then at the end of the round, you top up all your points on the back of the coins, and then whoever has the most coins wins that round. And basically, it's like best 2 out of 3. Basically.
I'm trying to think, find the game. How do you spell it?
Jaipur. Jaipur.
Sorry, J.
Jai.
Oh, yep. Sorry, J. Yep. Okay, sorry.
Pur. But yeah, it's very good too.
Oh no, I have played this.
It's a really good 2-player game. Fabulous. I mean, Ellie tried it with Eddie the first time, and then I eventually got around to playing it, and she was like, "Oh, we do this," and I'm like, "No, it doesn't. It says here. The rules say as this," and she's like, "Oh, well, we've been playing it wrong." I was like, "Okay, no worries." So now we know how to play it properly, and the games go really quick. And yes, it's like you can play a game in like 20 minutes. So
See, this is what you call small box games.
yeah.
Small box games are normally 1 to 4 players, super quick,
Mm.
but a hell of a lot of fun, and they're the
Yeah.
kind of ones that you can jam out in about 15 or 20 minutes. If you like this, try to get a game that I have been looking for ages, and it's by a gentleman called Scott Ames that does a lot of the tiny epic games. That again, amazing bunch of games. I was lucky enough
What
to
was it?
interview Scott.
What was it? What's the game called?
So the game is called Harbour, as in like a boat harbour.
Okay.
And it's another small box game that is probably up there in my top 5, and a lot of people will be like, "Why? It's not that good." I love it, and it's something that I've always loved. And what actually happens is you pretty much God, how can I forget what it is? You are kind of like harbour masters, and you're bringing in goods and stuff like that. And the thing that I love about it, and it kind of is in the same vein as this, and the thing that I love about it is how you score. So, for example, if I'm starting to bring in beef, there's actually a tile that has like beef, chicken, I think it's wheat and something else. I can't remember. It's been probably about 5 years since I played it, because when it first came out, it was everywhere, and then they stopped production.
Yeah.
Don't know why. So, and what happens though is, so for example, you get 10 coins if it's here, 5 here, 2 and 1 if you trade them in. But what happens is, say for example, I've got a whole heap of meat, and Jordan's also going for it. If I all of a sudden trade in that meat and it's in the top spot, number 10, what happens is the market gets flooded, so it goes to the bottom and everything else moves up.
Yeah.
And it is one of the best mechanics that I've found in a small box game, and it's something that I remember when I first played it, it blew me away, and I was like, this is just so clever. And the fact is that what you can actually do is go, okay, wheat's last at the moment, but if I collect a whole heap of that, it might be second or third by the time people drop a few things, because you tend to find people will focus on the number 1 and 2 spot. And it's this kind of like constant give or take, and then you're like, oh, I need 1 coin.
Yeah.
Do I just trade this in for this? And then you can buy like goblin upgrades, and you kind of move your pieces to get. Oh, it is just a fun game.
Yeah,
and it reminds
I tell
me.
you what, you can't find it really in New Zealand at all. Funnily enough, I mean, I'm looking through it, and it's mainly through Amazon and stuff like that. So I might have to try and pick this up when I'm back in the UK.
Yeah, no, like literally, I have been looking for it for some time, and I did find a copy, and that's the thing that annoyed me, is I found a copy, and and then when I asked for it to be sent to us, it supposedly was shipped, and then for whatever reason, it just disappeared. Like, it didn't get to me, and obviously I got a refund, but I'm like,
okay, yeah, no, it looks like I can pick it up in the UK. I've just got to find somewhere that's it's getting restocked there. Yeah.
no, you tend to find a lot of them will say restock, because what originally happened was it was originally done on Kickstarter by one thing. Then I think it was TMG bought it out,
right.
and then when TMG bought it out, they did a limited run, and then they kind of went and got rid of it, and I don't know why.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to probably do a bit of a run round, see where I can find it. Yeah,
No, it's not available anywhere.
Expected
100%.
restock is on the 15th of August when I'm in the UK.
It says that, but I still to this day have been like there's I think there's 3 or 4 big board gaming sites, and I've also got a couple of store owners waiting for me, and I've got let me know when it's coming, and still not.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I found one on eBay.
Okay. Oh yeah, I haven't checked eBay yet. Yeah. To be fair, I need to stay off eBay. Because I know I'm going to find a lot of Warhammer stuff that I want to get for cheap.
That's cool.
So,
you should do it. Just do it.
Yeah. No, I am planning on taking Edwards.
$10 shipping.
Ooh.
Australian shipping sucks balls.
But yeah. So anyway, yeah. All right. Okay. I will have a look at that. That sounds interesting. But yeah. I have to probably moving on. Obviously, I have to say one thing in terms of everything. I like Kickstarter for board games, sort of thing, because they generally show you everything up front, before, and tells you, and generally there's a gameplay video that shows you how the gameplay works. It's like I got in on Exploding Kittens. on the first run. I still have the original box. The sound doesn't work anymore on it, which is annoying because obviously it's quite old now. But my God, Exploding Kittens is probably the third game I want to talk about, which is just
Exploding Kittens is the only small box game that I have seen that has blown up like that. That is unbelievable. And then from that, Breaking Games are able to literally just make 15 other ones. Like I've got Bear versus Baby.
Yeah, I've got that.
I've got that. They came out with this one.
You got crabs?
What was that?
Have you got crabs?
Maybe. I won't lie.
Taco fight.
There's about I think there's 1,520 litre tubs in my storage unit that has all my board games in it. And to be fair, I haven't been through them in years. And they're kind of like, all over the shop.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I just love Exploding Kittens. And I remember when I got it, and obviously I played it with Ellen, which we found it fun. And then I remember taking it to the... I was meeting up with the Games Workshop lads that I used to work with and stuff. And I thought, we'll go to the German bar. I'll bring this along just for a bit of fun. Just rather than just sitting there nattering, at least we can play a bit of a game and natter at the same time. And literally we were there for 4 hours playing nothing but Exploding Kittens and chatting shit and drinking. And then we all tried to stand up and then realised how much alcohol we had consumed. And then
that's great. That's what you need. That's what you need in life.
And it was the funniest thing. But yeah, suddenly it's like, oh crap, it's fuck. And because the girl, the German bar came along and said, you need to give up the table now. I went, why? She went, you've been here for 4 hours. I went,
deal with it, woman. I'm not.
It's like, but bear in mind, we've been eating and drinking the entire time, so it's not like, we've ordered one thing and then kept the table busy. They were happy with us, but they're like, no, we got the evening rush and everything's booked, so you have to leave. I'm like, oh yeah, no worries. And then, then we proceeded to collapse because we were just like, after drinking several steins of beer, it's all in our systems, and it was not a good idea. But yeah, so Exploding Kittens is good.
I just did something silly.
What have you done?
I just bought Harbour. I haven't been able to find it anywhere, so sorry. I was listening, but yes, Exploding Kittens is a game that is kind of crazy. They've got a few more that have come out, which is like the burrito one, where you literally, it's a game kind of thing where you've kind of play these cards, but then at one point you have to pick up this foam squishy ball burrito kind of thing and start piffing at each other. There's an avocado one. There's one that came out that was really cool for kids, and what was it? Sparkle Kittens or Sparkle Thingos? Oh, it was a game that I actually reviewed, and it was a really fun game. And what actually happens is you pick a princess, put them at the top of the tower, and then what you actually do is you have to make word games and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool, learning game, and as it happens, you knock down till you free your princess.
Yeah.
So it's actually really cool for kids, and I played it with two of my they're kind of nieces, but they're not my family kind of thing. They're like one of my best friend's kids that I nicknamed. If you read my articles, you'll actually see that in some of them I will have the angels, because that's what I call them, because their mum said, oh, can you not let their names go? And I'm like, that's cool. And to be fair, it was kind of funny because at one point then I had a tower that I was trying to knock down in the game with no princesses, because all the girls had the princesses. There's like 9 princesses. And I'm like, I want this one. I want this one. No, I want that one. And there was just this argument. And I swear to God, it took us 20 minutes to decide who got what princesses, to the point where I got no princesses. So I'm not going to say I'm sad, but I didn't get a princess.
Oh, Dez.
I know.
But yeah. But no, yeah, Exploding Kids, definitely. The games too. I just love, to be fair, my favourite version of Exploding Kittens is the Not Safe for Work edition. And just...
Yes.
and just the artwork alone. Oatmeal, God knows what was powering him to do the artwork on the cards, and especially on the Not Safe for Work edition one, something. He must have been on like Red Bull and Pro Plus at the same time, man, because dear lords. But definitely the Space Pope and Nope says nope.
I must say though, his art style does lend very well to board games.
Yes.
It's simple, it's elegant. It's kind of like, and there are a few people like him that I find that have such distinct arts. One of them is the Mirko, as they call him, or Mirko. who does all the what's it called? Oh my god, all the Valeria series, which is an amazing group of games from Daily Magic Games, who have this thing which was called Card Kingdom, and it was set in this thing of Valeria, and then from there they've done a whole heap of expansions. The good thing is about 80% of the expansions can be played, and it's the same world, same artist, but he's done art for a whole heap of games, but it's so distinctively him, like to the point where if I put 100 games there and I said which ones are the Mirko, you'd be like that one, that one, that one, that one. And don't quote me on this. I think he's Turkish or in that kind of Eastern European bloc.
Yeah.
And the boy is so talented. But what I like about him is he's just like, this is my art style. Tell me what you want me to draw, but it's my art style. And it's become a signature point to the point where I've seen people that went, oh, he worked on that game, instant buy.
Oh,
And that's the one thing, and I won't lie, there is a massive thing that you can go down a rabbit hole in Kickstarter and spend a fortune.
Yes.
The thing that I am very thankful for is that I think there's been 3 or 4 games that I've bought in the last. Well, there's been one game I bought in the last 6 minutes, but there's only been I think 3 or 4 games that I've bought in the last probably 8-9 years.
Yeah.
Because I've had enough board games coming through, and also I was going to say in the same vein. Some people turn their nose up at it, and I get it and I understand it. It's been done to death. But Cards Against Humanity is a game that, like Monopoly, you love to hate it. That being said, if you're drinking with friends at a party and it comes out, you always seem to have a lot of fun.
We've got
but it's kind of like Monopoly. It's that love-hate kind of relationship.
I mean, we've got the family edition, obviously, because of Edward. And even then, we had to go through and curtail some of the cards because some of them are like, ooh. But, you know, he loves playing that, especially when we're having a party, because obviously it allows him to be involved in actually having, you know, with adults and stuff like that. But it is hilarious. I love playing Cards Against Humanity. Mainly the normal edition. God, that's hilarious. But yeah, but playing the family one's just as good, sort of thing.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though. People hate on it, and I kind of understand it.
No,
and
I can agree with that. And
if you've ever been on Kickstarter, there's about like literally 1,300 different variants of it. It is frustrating. It is overdone to death, and yet for some reason it is still a hell of a lot of fun. And I think that's the biggest problem, is that you can't hate it, love it, whatever. If it comes out, you're going to play it because it is a lot of fun. And it's a bit of thing. You get to find out how fucked up some of your friends are. You kind of go, damn, I'm never telling them that again because that guy's messed up.
We picked up, what's that other one I picked up? It's so similar. What do you mean? So where it's kind of the same. It's the same concept, but obviously it's a picture, and he's like, what sentence would you use for this picture? And it does get funny. It's not as funny as Cards Against Humanity, but I do think it is quite good. Sort of thing.
Yeah, I have played it, and I'm like, actually, I think I got it. I think the last batch I got from VR distribution actually had it in it, and I get it, but it does seem to it doesn't feel as good to me. And I'm just like it just feels like it's, I don't know, because we all know what the meme is, and it's kind of funny, and some of the things they have are very fitted to, say, these 5 memes, and then for the rest of it, you're like, eh. And I think it becomes very samey. And what's weird, though, is even though Cards Against Humanity the same thing, where it can be a bit samey, you're like, nah.
It can, but then again, if you've got that specific groups, like I know that you can get Pokemon Against Humanity or Harry Potter Against Humanity and all this shit. So the fact that obviously those sets are tailored for, I need this set for when the boys are around and we're going to do Pokemon Against Humanity because we're all massive Pokemon nerds and it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
But I couldn't play that with Elle because she'd be like, I don't get it. And it's like, yeah, I know, and I'm sorry. You know, it just wouldn't be as fun, sort of thing. But yeah. I think that some games can go off a bit too specialised and a bit too niche with the expansion sets. You know, let's be honest, Settlers Catan apparently, because I got the Seafarers expansion, and then apparently the only other one I need is the Knights and Cities one, and apparently all the rest of them are realistically surplus. Apparently, according to all the board game communities, you do not need these other. Once you've got these two, that's it. Do not need another one. I'm like, great.
Yeah, and that's the problem though. Like sometimes, there are certain expansions that I will go, yeah, this is amazing, and there's other expansions that I'm like, nah. They just seem to add more of the same thing. It's like, well, hey, look, I can go this guy or this guy and this guy, and you're like, but it doesn't really add anything to the game. It just has one special ability that changes a little bit, but it's like, nah.
Yeah.
One game I do recommend that I know that HR Distribution didn't send me out of the pack. They had the list of board games that you could kind of choose from, and this was one of them they didn't send me, and it made me cry because I think I've got 6 or 8 friends that have it, and so for when I want to play it, it's wherever I need to be with all my good board game mates. But it's a game I don't own, and it's King of Tokyo.
Oh yes, no, King of Tokyo. I've never played it. I've heard nothing but good things because it is Richard Garfield.
It's not going to be like this mind-bending game that makes you go, oh my god, and make you really think.
Yeah.
But it's a game that's just a hell of a lot of fun. It's rolling dice. It's taking risks on whether you want to keep the attacks or you want to do this.
Yeah.
You get obviously bonus points if you're in Tokyo. So the idea of it is you are the King of Tokyo. When you attack everybody outside of Tokyo.
Yeah.
When they attack you, or they can heal. But while you're in Tokyo as the king, you can't heal. So the idea is keep rolling attacks like a madman until you can start bringing everybody down. And then when somebody attacks you and hits you, you leg it out, heal, and then you pretty much just keep trying to attack to try to get in. And it's this kind of give and take, hell of a lot of fun. Not much to it, but it is a game that's really fun.
It is on my list that I want to buy, but I kind of at our old rental, I was told no more board games until we move because we need to have space. Because we had a full shelf and it was ridiculous. And now,
now she's like, bitch, max out the credit card on board games.
Now we've got we've got these nice 3 big bookshelves, and one of them's for the DVDs, the other one's for CDs and books, and then we got one that is pretty much just for board games. And there's a bit of I can wangle a bit of room for King of Tokyo.
Well, I mean, the good thing about King of Tokyo is it is made by an absolute legend in the board game industry. Mm-hmm. Somebody that you may know.
Richard Garfield, yes. We know, love him dearly, sort of thing. He created one of the greatest trading card games known to man.
Yeah. So, and the good thing is, one thing that I obviously learned about him is obviously that he's a mathematician.
Yes. He's got a PhD in it as well.
Yeah. He's Doctor Maths, as I used to say as a joke. So a lot of his games have been calculated to an inch of their life. And I think that because of that as well, is it does feel really balanced, and it doesn't matter if you haven't played them or stuff. Speaking of, obviously, Wizards of the Coast and Magic, one of my favourite games still to this day that I don't actually own because the same thing as Kings of Tokyo, 30 of my friends own it, is, oh my God, how's it? Waterdeep. What is it?
What?
Oh my God, how did I just forget that? What is it? Lords of Waterdeep.
Lords of Waterdeep, yeah.
Oh my God, how did I forget that? I'm an idiot. But it's a game that I love.
Okay.
And it's a game that is kind of more Euro-esque, but not quite. So the idea is you get people, as a lord, you command them to do things, and you put them on different places. Those places can be get a starting tile, get a green block, get an orange block, get a blue block. And then from there, once you get all your resources, you can build things that also get you bonuses.
It's all based off the Dungeons and Dragons world, isn't it?
Yes, and that's the other reason why I love it, and that's the other reason why when it came up, when I was watching the Dungeons and Dragons movie, I may have squealed like a little girl.
Yeah, no, I will be totally honest, I've never played it.
It's a lot of fun. It's a game that I've always go like, I should buy this, and then I just keep
How many players
forgetting. And I'm like, 2 to 5, I think.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, 2 to 5, and it's won a whole heap of awards. It was nominated for a whole heap of awards. It's a great little game. Good thing is this one seems to always be in print. There's a couple of expansions, and to be fair, I think like any game, I'm like, if I love the base set, I don't really care about the expansions because this is a game that I feel like I can play over and over again, and I don't really care that much about the expansions.
Yeah.
So I've never actually played them. I have heard some good things about them.
Yeah.
But
I'll
don't know.
I might have to have a look into that one, sort of thing. But yeah, it looks a bit. I'll be honest, it looks a bit complicated for little person right now. But maybe in a couple of years might be.
To be fair, it's actually not as complicated because a lot of it is also looking at what you've got, understanding the actual markings, and just building towards things.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm thinking of, is that Edward is good at immediate stuff, not planning sort of thing. He's a very reactive person rather than a proactive sort of thing. So, it's one of those things of I think it's a good game maybe in a year or two, I reckon, for him. But yeah, we'll definitely have a look at that.
Yeah.
But that looks quite good, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm trying. Funnily enough, the one game he's enjoying at the moment that he bought with his own money, because he got obviously Christmas money and everything, and he got a voucher for the warehouse, and he went along.
What was it? Sorry. What was it? Sorry, my audio.
I haven't said it yet. You interrupted.
Oh, sorry. I think you said it. It's just your audio. My audio broke up, and I was like,
the story. I'm giving the background, and you're just jumping ahead of me.
That's good. No, because the audio just went in my ear.
It's all right. I already know I already know that I need to upload this video
awesome.
for you at the end of the session. Do not worry. I'll be
yeah.
But basically, so he ended up getting a voucher for the warehouse, and basically he said, I'm going to go buy a board game. All right, sure, no worries. You do what you want, pal. And he went and picked up The Game of Life. All games, that game is literally like, I walked down this aisle with him. No, Ellie walked down the aisle with him, and she said, honestly, she was like, of all the games I would pick, that if he wants a board game, of all the games you think to pick, why The Game of Life? And to be fair, it is one of those weird games. But the fact is, he just enjoys playing it, and I don't know why. He can't tell me. We've asked him why he enjoys it. He just says, I don't know, I just enjoy playing it. It's fun. And it's just, it's just a bit weird, sort of thing, The Game of Life, sort of thing.
It is, like, when you play The Game of Life as a kid, I remember playing it, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. The problem is when you get older and kind of understand what The Game of Life is, it is morbid as hell.
Did you go to college?
You
didn't go to college. You can't have this job.
It's like the outcome is death.
Yes.
And I think it's weird too because it's also very dated.
No. The outcome's not death. The outcome is retirement, they say. It's retirement.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The ultimate retirement is death.
No, it is. I'll say, it's just one of those games. I mean, I've played it a couple of times, and I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of it. But that's me. Sort of thing. I like something a bit of this. I enjoy something that's challenging. I don't like things that gives you option A or option B. It's like, I need strat. I need strategy is what I want, sort of thing. The fact that
it's a very bizarre choice though. Yeah. Like I'm all for
it. Do you know what? He enjoys playing it and all that jazz. One game I did see in a shop window a little while ago, and I kind of wish I bought it. But I didn't buy it because I've got a Kickstarter game that's coming that pretty much is it anyway, which is I wanted to buy a Hero Quest, which I play.
Hero Quest is a game that I think everyone needs to play.
Which is a great game, but I have my Kickstarter coming of Dungeoneers, which is pretty much Hero Quest plus. It's got everything. It's like it even goes beyond the dungeon sort of thing, so you can actually play a full campaign and everything else. So I'm like, ooh, yes. So I held off buying it. But in saying that, like Space Hulk, obviously that was a great game. I loved playing that when I was a kid as well. Sort of thing. Yeah. Space Hulk was such a good game.
Actually, my brother weirdly came back from the UK because he was living over there for a couple of years, and and he randomly came back and he's like, I don't know if you like this, but I remember you liking like mini games. But he goes, I thought you'd like it because you like American football. And he just randomly gave me a box of Blood Bowl.
Love Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl was so good. It was so
I've never played it. I must say, I got it just before I moved, so it was put in one of the boxes. But when I have my own place, I'm so excited to
Blood Bowl
actually paint it up.
It was really funny when I worked for Games Workshop. We were told obviously we were told to discuss Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy, and Lord of the Rings. She said all the other games do not talk about. We do not promote it. And I'm like, okay, all right. Even though it's our game anyway. But the fact is that I loved playing Blood Bowl when I first got into it, because it was obviously it's just random. The fact is that not only you're playing the game, but the fact is the ball might not land where you want, and you've got to rethink the strategy, and then depends what team you pick. And now it's hilarious how Games Workshop themselves have had to do a massive 180, and now there's not only Blood Bowl, there's Dungeon Bowl as well, there's Dungeon Bowl now, which is basically so instead of playing on a field, you're playing in a dungeon. So you've got to then think about who's in what corridor and everything else, it's completely even more and there's way more teams now. So there's not just like back in when I first played, there was the human team, the dwarfs, the orcs, and who was the other team? Humans, dwarf. Oh, the elves. So when I first played, there was only 4, and then when I got a bit older, I realised there was a few more teams that released, but there weren't that many options. And now there's you've got the dark elves, you've got the lizardmen, you've got literally every single one of the Warhammer Fantasy races as a team, and they all have special characters, and you can run different versions of each team. So it's not like you've got this one team and you can pick this one character that does this thing. Now it's like, oh no, I want to build it around this strategy, and so it's actually they've took it beyond further, because I think they've realised. Games Workshop realised that people still want to play this game. It's very good. It's still very popular. We need to start maybe releasing a bit of things. We can earn some money, and all that jazz. So anyway, but yeah.
Because I do remember a lot of people being like all for it, and there seems to be people I speak to every time they're like, oh, love that game, and it's a game that I'm like, now I'm interested, and my brother randomly bought it for me. He saw it for a few £100. Oh no, sorry, not even. Probably 20, 30 pounds or something at a shop at a discount. And he bought it for me, and I'm like, sweet. And and never played it, but I just kind of went, let's see what it's like.
Funnily enough, literally Games Workshop the other day, we're getting off topic again, but then again, it's our podcast, we usually do. Games Workshop the other day had mentioned the announcement of a new thing, and they're like, ooh, everyone's like, what is it? So they've brought back Epic 40k, but this time they're doing it for the Horus Heresy rather than modern day 40k. Oh, okay. But basically, it's like they called it something, and I was looking at it, and I was like, so they're bringing back Epic, and literally, because it's and literally that's what it is. It's just Epic, but now they're doing it all for the Horus Heresy, because obviously they recently did the Horus Heresy starter set and all this jazz, so you can get into 30k now. Great. So you've got 30k, you've got 40k, so now you've not only got Epic 40k to play, and Imperial or Aeronautica and all that jazz. Oh no, we can now also do Epic 30k, basically. They call it something specific, I can't remember what it is, but literally everyone's like, oh, you mean Epic 30k? Yeah, that's what they call it. It's like, alright, okay.
And the one thing about Epic I never understood is that you got miniatures that are you got a Land Raider that's normally about this big, and now it's about this big. So in other words, you're like, I'm going to be Ultramarines, you just paint it blue, dip it in the wash and just shake it, and then you're like, and it's painted as good as you can get it.
The entire thing of basically what Epic was doing was basically allowing you to play these ridiculously massive units that Games Workshop will never produce. The Imperial, for the Emperor Titan or the Imperator Titan, whatever it's called, which would stand taller than me. If they were to do it in the size of the 28mm format, which is what normal 40k is, it's taller than me. There's not enough money. They wouldn't be able to make it. They'd only make 10 of them, and they would, and it'd be a limited item and all this crap. And so that's the reason why they don't do it. But they can easily go, oh well, let's make Epic. which is and take everything down to 5 mil scale. So now we can produce this miniature, which should be over 6 foot tall normally, but now it's the size of a dreadnought.
Yeah, no, I don't know, like,
sort of thing.
For me, I was just like, I don't get it. Like, it just...
I get what they were doing, but it's funny when you see the little Space Marine models, it's like, what are these going to do? Have you seen that massive robot that's out there? In terms of skill, this thing stands on these things. He doesn't care. Sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, but I do understand why you do it, but it is quite fun to see sort of all that. But you also get to see all the other races, big things that you don't, that always gets talked about, like the Gorkanauts and everything else, which are
Yeah, like I get it, but I just sounds bad. But I'm like, that doesn't interest me at all.
No, yeah, it is a very niche part of the hobby. Like, don't get me wrong. Miniature board games is a niche thing anyway. The second you go, oh, let's just change the scale, and then you can have all these ridiculously sized units in a proper format, and it's just like, yeah, you've took a step beyond, in my opinion, sort of thing,
Yeah, like for me, it's just kind of like I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like for me, it's just like.
But to be fair, there was the what is it? The Star Wars game thing. Epic. No, not Epic. X-Wing. No, was it called X-Wing? Where the
TIE Fighter versus
So it's TIE Fighter
Star
versus
Wars
X-Wing, and that
Squadrons.
came out. Everyone loved it, so they started releasing more and more and more, bigger ships, and then you get the Millennium Falcon and everything else, and everyone was loving it. But then the problem is everyone was like, "No, where's my Star Destroyer?" And they went, right, we can release it, but you realise how big of a scale we're talking about now. You're talking about something the size of a TV, size of a computer monitor, the length of it, and in terms of the board that he plays on, it's like ridiculous. So then they came up with the next one, which was Armada. But of course, that cheesed off a load of the X-Wing players because they went, so hang on, I've got to rebuy my entire army. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, do you want to play with Star Destroyers? Yes. Then you're going to do this. Because we can't print it at an affordable price for you guys.
Yeah, no, I must say, a mate of mine, Paul, who got really into X-Wing and then also got really into Armada, to the point where one day we were there and they bought out a whole heap of stuff. And the owner knew us because we played board games there every couple of weeks. And he's like, Paul, I'm about to put out the new stuff. Is there anything you want? He's like, I thought that wasn't until next week. He's like, no. We're allowed to take pre-sales for it. I've got the stuff here. If you promise not to tell anybody, I'll just give it to you today. And I was like, okay, cool.
How much did he buy?
He dropped $2,200.
Jesus.
Literally bought one of almost everything and then bought like one of multiple different things as well. Like it was pure insanity. Like I've never seen this thing. And he was like, oh yeah, I want one of these. And then to the point where the guy literally just went out, packed a whole heap of boxes, and he's like, can you give me a lift home? And I was like, yeah, why? What's up? He's like, oh, I bought some Armada stuff and a few other new X-Wing stuff that came out. And I don't want to take it on public transport. And I was like, yeah, all right, cool. I carried 2 boxes. And if anybody's seen it, the Armada stuff is like you get like 3 or 4 X-Wings on like a small little base. You get like a bigger thing. There were 4 boxes that I would have been probably like as outstretched as I could get carrying these. It was insanity. I've just never, ever seen this much stuff. And I'm like, holy crap. He's like, if anybody asks, it was $500. And I was like, and I'm like, so if anybody asks, it's $500, which means it's obviously at least double,
which
possibly
is
triple that.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And I'm like, this is insane. Yeah. And then he told me that it was $2,200 he just spent on it, but he was like super into it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I did want to maybe get, because I know the original X-Wing Star is obviously just like, I think it's 2 TIE Fighters and an X-Wing or something the other way around or whatever it was. And I thought, it'd be quite cute as a little fun board game to play. And then, but literally, I was going to buy it, and one of the guys at the store says, "Put it back." I went, "Why?" That's a dangerous slope. put it back. And I was like, it can't be that bad. But then I literally ended up watching a couple of guys, like, and it literally just start throwing money into this game system. I'm like, ooh, you know what? That's a bit rich for my blood. I am
100%.
good.
Well, that's the thing though. Like I bought, I bought Netrunner when a few friends were into that, and people were like, "Oh, it's slippery slope," and I'm like, "No, I literally bought penny sleeves. I bought Netrunner, and I told myself I wasn't buying any of the expansions. And to be fair, I didn't. But to be fair, the number of times I had to stop myself, where you'd see people play these amazing decks, I'm like, no, just buy the game, and don't look at anything else. Like, do not look at anything else. That being said, though, those X-Wings, after that was released, the number of amazing things I saw on YouTube with them making like collages of them or like whole things were next level.
I mean,
but
to be fair, I mean, I used to, I've got to say, I mean, back in the day, I mean, God, this is going to probably really date me, but I remember playing with the Star Wars Micro Machines era.
Oh, okay.
Where, you had all the ships and everything. And I used to go around with a mate and we used to do the space battles, protect, on the floor and everything else. So basically it was just doing that, but with a game, an actual game behind it, which was quite cool. And that's probably how it came about. I reckon someone was actually like, well, hang on, if we have some form of thing of, you got to choose which way you're going to fly, and then obviously if they line up, then you could shoot and all this chat. And I was like, and literally, you was like, man, that's probably how it started. They were probably using these micro machines back in the day.
Well, I was going to say for my fourth or fifth sort of birthday, Christmas, I was getting Return of the Jedi merch, like the actual toys that came out for Return of the Jedi. So if we're gonna date people,
there we go. Is that dating you?
That is very much dating me, because that is kind of insanity. But yeah.
You do know that I do realise that some people are going to listen to this episode of the podcast and go, "What is a micro machine?"
That is probably true. I may actually need to let me have a look. I might actually hang on. I want to see if I can even find them online. Micro machine.
You can. Must be able to. But anyway, this is going to be the last thing we're going to be discussing in this podcast. I just realised the time. And you've got to edit this week.
I've got to edit it, but you've got to send it to me. I must say, there are a few online. You can still actually get the episode 1 and 2 ones. The original one, not as much. But it does look like you can get the early one. Oh, there's some here from 1996.
Yep. Oh, God.
Which would have been Millennium Falcon. What's that? Oh, that's the speeder. And the Royal Starship. Okay, so they're actually 96 is actually from the Obi-Wan with
episode 1
with Ewan McGregor.
Yes. But yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So there are some out there, but they're very
Year 6.
Very
Year
old.
6 is 1996 for me. Year 6. Yep. God, I feel old now.
But if you want to buy some, there are some online.
To be fair, funnily enough, me and
crap.
Ellie were discussing the other day about we showed Edward on YouTube the Micro Machines video game, because we both discussed how much we loved playing that video game back in the day. Especially when you're driving around on the kitchen table and everything else, and he was just like, "You're doing what?" And then we showed him, and he was like, "But then, of course, we only ever remember on the Sega. Apparently, they went to the PlayStation, and they had all these 3D ones. And like, I felt robbed. Where is this information? This is ridiculous. It might have influenced my decision to go to PlayStation.
Yeah, my best mate Brendan, who was one of the first people I knew that had a burner, and he would have the girl that used to work at the not the post office,
what was that?
Paper news agent. Used to go to Bali every couple of weeks, buy a whole heap of games, and then get Brendan to copy of them. And while Brendan was copying him, he'd obviously copy himself. We went to a market, got it shipped. So he had literally thousands of games. Like he had almost every PlayStation game that came out. I think he only had one original. But that is by the by. We're not looking into that.
Sony don't come for us. It wasn't us. No.
They would not be impressed. But yeah, no. But Micro Machines was one of them, and I just remember playing that for like hours with him. So much fun.
I lost so much time
fun.
on the Sega playing that game. It was so good, and especially as you had to learn how to drift. That's the first game that ever taught me how to drift, because I was like, why do I keep spinning out? Because I keep holding left, whereas I just need to let go at a certain point on the curve.
That was the funniest thing, though, especially at the time too. Though you had no idea what drifting was.
Yeah, and then then they come out with Tokyo Drift. The best movie, of course, of the franchise.
And then 100%. And then little Bow Wow taught us how to drift. Thanks, little Bow Wow. And Lucas Black.
Oh god.
Hashtag number one.
Yes, number one, of course. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up right there. So hopefully we've given you some board game ideas. If you've got some suggestions for 2-player games or more, even 1-player games, let us know. We'd be more interested here in the comment section. You can let us know via our YouTube channel. You can let us know via TikTok or Twitter at Dorks Down Under. As I said previously, we are available on all good podcast forums, as well as being visible on our YouTube and Spotify. So you can see us, our beautiful faces. It's all fabulous.
And feel free to keep the abuse to a minimum about me not playing Catan.
Oh, no.
But that being said,
you need to be suffering for that. You need to get your butt over to us at some point, and we will sit you down and play several games.
Yes.
Do you know how good of a game it is? Even my dad loves playing it. I introduced him to it this Christmas, and we ended up playing about 20 times the entire time he was here. He's like, are we going to play Catan? It's like, we played last night.
It is. I just find it funny because, like, I know of about 9 or 10 reviewers that also haven't played it, and it always triggers people, and it's just hilarious.
I found it hilarious that I found out there's a world championship for it, and I'm like, oh my god. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy playing it, but I'm not that serious. But,
But there are world champions, so I got invited to the world champions and stuff, and I ended up not being able to cover it due to work commitments. But even then, like, I used to have a chuckle because I'm like, yeah, no, I know of it, just never played it. And they're like, how have you never played it? You've reviewed how many games? I'm like, yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't really interest me.
We're gonna have to fix that. But anyway, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on episode 23 of Dorks Down Under Season 2.
23, shit.
23, I know, it's flying along. God knows what, I don't know how many episodes we're on. I think we're coming up to our 50th in total, sort of thing. So, which is about scary, 45 more than I thought we'd do.
Those poor people that have to sit through 45 of our episodes. God damn it.
Indeed. Well, to be fair, at least we're not a continuation series. At least we're not one of these ones you have to watch from episode 1 to understand the neurotic nature of our minds. You can just jump in at whichever point you want. We're like Bluey. You jump in at any point. It's fabulous.
Well, that's a good thing. The good thing is yes, there is no rhyme or reason. And to be fair, the only good thing about watching them in order is sometimes the ramblings that we start and forget to stop will often pop up in other.
I swear to God that if we ever do blow up, there will probably be a forum of, did they ever finish this story? Did we ever get the end of this?
Yes.
And then we'll have to have a forum.
Also, if there is a story we forgot to finish and you want to hear,
yes,
please also let us know.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we will get round to it. But anyway, much love. Peace out, guys. Stay safe. Relax.
That is.